Everybody? Good afternoon, everyone. It is a gorgeous day, and I hope everyone has a chance to take advantage of the beautiful day outside. It's wonderful to have sunshine every day. I again want to welcome you to the 1 o'clock press conference and thank you for being here. We'll be back on Friday. Again, we're now in the Monday, Wednesday, Friday for the 1 o'clock press conferences. I would like to begin today by just thanking everybody. This morning, as I've been briefed around where we are as a state dealing with the coronavirus, we're doing very, very well. And that's because Rhode Islanders have come together through this. So it has been difficult. It continues to be difficult. We continue to lose loved ones every single day. I know there are many, many, many people out of work, small businesses just reopening. But I would encourage us that we need to continue to stay together. This is a hard time for everybody, and the only way we're going to get through it is if we stick together. Until now, Rhode Islanders have stuck together. We are where we are today, leading the nation in our response because the people of Rhode Island have come together to follow the rules, to be supportive, to be informed, to help one another. And I want to thank you, and I think all of Rhode Island should be proud of the way you've dealt with this and continue to deal with it. I do have quite a bit to get through today, so bear with me. We'll begin briefly, as we always do, with the data. It's up on your screen. We have another 66 new cases today, and very sadly, another 4 deaths. I will say the virus hasn't gone away. It's still here. It's very much still with us. We've changed, and therefore it's not as having the devastating effects as it was having a couple of months ago, but it is still with us, and we all have to still be careful, cautious, and vigilant. I want to remind everybody that we're now offering tests to workers in close contact businesses, hairdressers, barbers, nail salons, anyone who's in a close contact business, tattoo parlors, also child care centers. If you're an employee in a child care center or close in contact business, you should please consider going to get tested, even if you don't have symptoms. I mean, I'm saying if you don't have symptoms. If you don't have symptoms, but you work in one of those businesses, we'd like you to think about going ahead and getting tested, because we're trying to get a feel for the prevalence of the disease in those particular industries. And it will be free to you. There's no cost. It's a little bit of an inconvenience, but we're asking you to please do that. The same is true for everyone who attended one of the protests over the weekend or the last few days. If you found yourself in a big crowd over the weekend protesting, we'd ask you to please go ahead and get tested. My husband and I were tested this morning. It's really not that bad. It just takes a minute, less than a minute, a few seconds, and I would just ask you to consider doing that. You can sign up for a free test and make an appointment at portal.ri.gov. Portal.ri.gov. And since I know you'll all be asking, I was tested negative, so that is relief for myself and my family and anyone who might have been wondering. Okay, so the announcements that I have today, I want to spend nearly all of my time with you today talking about school, talking about our schools and what school might look like in the fall. It's a big topic, it is a complicated topic, and it is an incredibly important topic. And that's why I'm joined today by Commissioner Infante Green. She and her team have been truly working around the clock, and I want to thank her for her leadership and her hard work. They've done an extraordinary job with distance learning, and they're working hard to make sure that we can educate our kids come the fall. So I want to thank you, Angelica, and also thank Dr. Nicole Alexander Scott for working with them. So before I talk to you about what school is going to look like in the fall, I just have to begin with a few thank yous. School's on everybody's mind. It's probably the topic about which I am asked most often, from parents, from teachers, from kids, from mental health professionals, from pediatricians, every day, wherever I go. How is school going? What's going to go on with school in the fall? So first, let me remind you, we're almost done with school. We have a little more to go, and I'm asking all the kids and teachers to hang in there and finish strong, run through the tape. But I also want to remind you that Rhode Island has been a leader nationally in distance learning. We made a decision early on not to throw in the towel on the school year. And we transitioned within 1 week to distance learning. We did not miss a single day of school on account of this. We changed the timing of our spring break. We used 1 week to prepare and did not miss a single day on account of the coronavirus crisis. And by and large, it has been successful. I say by and large because it has not been perfect. The longer it's gone, the harder it's been. It has been very difficult for teachers, parents, and students, and in no way do I want to minimize that. I hear from parents all the time, particularly parents of younger kids, that they feel, they are having to do a lot more to teach their kids at home. The kids are frustrated. The teachers have been stretched to their limits. But the truth of it is, you've done it. You have done it. You've done it better than any other state that I can find. And you should be very proud of yourselves, because it has really made a difference in the lives of our children. Having said that, there's no substitute for in-person learning. Our children deserve and will do better if they can have in-person learning. Also, we need to get our schools open again so that we can continue to reopen our economy. Having school open means that parents can go back to work. When I talk to businesses that are reopening and gradually wanting to bring more people back, one of the first things they say is, when is school opening? Because the moms and the dads who work here, in order for them to work, particularly if their kids are little, school needs to be open. So again, I can't say thank you enough to the teachers who've made this work, to the parents who've made this work, to the superintendents who've made it work, to the kids who've made it work, particularly those of you, I know with my own children, you miss out. You've missed out on so much. And it's been hard, emotionally, intellectually, physically. And I want to thank you guys, all of you, every one of you, for hanging in there. And I just want you to be proud of yourselves. You might not, in the day-to-day, slogging it out, doing your classes, if you're a teacher, trying to engage your kids, it hasn't felt great. I know that. Not every day feels good. Not every day feels good when you're sitting in your bedroom in your sweatpants trying to learn from your teacher, or if you're your teacher trying to reach your kids. It probably hasn't felt great. But I want you to know this, you've done a great job. And I am so proud of you for all you've done, every single one of you. And you turned on a dime to get it done. Having said that, I believe it's time to get back to school in person. So today I am setting a goal that we in Rhode Island will return to full in-person school this fall. RIDE will be working with school districts to develop plans for many different contingencies. And I want to be crystal clear, we are all going to work our tail off all summer to make sure that when school opens in the fall, it is safe. It's safe for teachers, it's safe for students, it's safe for social workers and all educators that are in the building, and safe for parents. And in a couple of minutes, the commissioner is going to provide details. Let me begin by saying we are going to be releasing today a statewide calendar for the school year. And the commissioner is going to go through it in a second. But we have a statewide calendar. We think that after a lot of consultation with superintendents and teachers and parent groups, we feel the best move is to have a standardized statewide calendar. This calendar has been approved by the Department of Health, and Dr. Alexander Scott and her team have been in the middle of all of this planning. And I'd like to announce today that the first day of school will be August 31st. And you can go ahead, please, and put up the calendar slide. There's some information that'll be coming up on your screen right now, which will show you the first day of school, the last day of school, built-in professional days for teachers, as well as vacations. And I want to give Commissioner Infante Green great credit for this. We had success last year, to her credit, putting all of our schools on one calendar during the distance learning phase. We got a lot of feedback from everyone that this was a good approach. So that's why we've decided to keep the consistent statewide calendar for the next school year. Now just bear with me for a few more minutes, because I am sure I've just created many more questions than I've answered. We expect all school districts to be working toward the in-person August 31st opening goal in the coming weeks and months. Now, let me say a few things. First of all, it's not going to look the way it did before. So even though we're setting a goal of being in school in person on August 31st, it will look different. And we just have to realize that now. I don't know exactly how it will look, but I'm announcing this today so we can all start to think about what different might look like. It's going to look like a lot more cleaning in the schools. It's going to look like kids' desks further apart. It could look like staggered start times. It'll look like fewer kids on a bus and more buses and more transportation. It'll probably involve mask wearing of some kind, certainly for the adults in some way. It's also going to mean we all have to understand no one can go in the school building sick. Now, I'm a mother, and I think I can speak for all moms and dads and kids that we've all sent our kids to school at the point in time maybe when they had the sniffles. They didn't have a fever, they didn't feel great. We thought they were well enough to go to school. We can't do that anymore. And also, we have prized ourselves on a perfect attendance culture. That's going to have to change. There's going to be a lot of behaviors which are going to have to change. No one can be in school buildings sick in any way, a headache, a sniffle, certainly a fever. So that means we will continue to rely on distance learning throughout the rest of next year. This isn't the flick of a switch. This is not back to normal, but this is having the kids in school, but using everything we've learned to keep ourselves safe, including incorporating distance learning for kids who are in quarantine, for teachers who are in quarantine, for kids who are sick, etc. I will say, I get asked a lot, Governor, what's the new normal going to look like? Not just with respect to schools, with respect to everything. I don't love that term, the new normal, because I think we can be better than the old normal. Let's set our sights higher than the new normal. Let's build a better Rhode Island at the other end of this crisis. Let's build a safer, healthier, more resilient Rhode Island, learning what we've learned. And the same is true for our schools. You teachers, you parents, you students, you guidance counselors, you superintendents, you did something in the past 3 months that you probably never knew you could do. You didn't know you had it in you to accomplish this. In the space of a week, you turned your schools into top-notch distance learning operations for 142,000 kids. And you've done a great job. And you've learned a lot doing it. So I want you to have confidence that you can do this too, that we can open school across Rhode Island on August 31st and provide our children a top-notch education and build on all of the learning that we've learned together around how to leverage distance learning and technology to make sure that school next year won't just be the new normal. It'll be even better than it was the year before. Let's rebuild an even better public education system together than it was when we went into this. Now, many of you, I'm sure, are saying, Governor, how can you announce now, in the beginning of June, that we can be ready by August 31st? How can you be so certain now about what's going to happen on August 31st? So let me say this. The truth of it is, I don't know exactly what August 31st will look like. We don't. This entire time, I have led based on science, data, and facts, and that won't change. But the CDC and our own Department of Health experts and all public health experts say that when you're in phase 3, it's safe to reopen school. And based on everything I know today, we will absolutely be in or past phase 3 by August 31st. Based on all the data that we now have and our projections, we believe it will be safe to reopen school by August 31st. And we also know it's going to take an incredible amount of planning in order to get us there safely. We also know that districts are going to have contingency plans. You need a plan for nearly all the students being in school, a plan for a hybrid, and a plan for, God forbid, if there's a resurgence and we have to go to distance learning. So in light of the fact that we have to have all these contingency plans in place, we need to get to work now. I am committed to this. We owe it to our children that there should be no disruption in their learning next year. These kids have gone through so much these past few months. We have to put our back into this and do everything we can. We've got to do everything we can to hit the goal. The vision and the goal is nearly every kid in person in school August 31st. But we also owe it to them to have the backup plans and contingency plans so there's no disruption in their learning. And most important, everybody in the school building is kept safe, including and especially teachers, many of whom are, older than the kids. And we know that this virus is not kind for folks who, are in their 50s and 60s. And I think, we have to be mindful of that. Also would like to say that no, there's no one size fits all. And as I've said over and over again, every community is different, and we need to acknowledge that. Central Falls right now has a very high prevalence of this disease. I believe that will be very different by the end of the summer. We're making great progress there. The same in Pawtucket, the same in Woonsocket, the same in certain parts of Providence. They have a high prevalence now. I believe that'll be very different by the end of the summer. Having said that, each community, we're not going to force anything on any community if the conditions on the ground in that community suggest it needs to be, different. And that's why every district has to work with us to do what's best. But I want us working towards a goal of in-person school next year with the same calendar beginning August 31st. So how are we going to pull this off? Each district is going to be required to submit a plan for how they're going to operate under these different scenarios. This is the plan for nearly every kid coming in person. This is the plan for a hybrid. This is the plan if we have to go back to full virtual learning. We are going to hold your hand every step of the way. So if you're hearing this and you're a superintendent or you're a school committee, you're getting nervous, we got this. We'll do this with you. This is doable and we can figure it out. By next Friday, June 19th, we'll be putting out guidance to schools laying out the minimum health and safety requirements that must be met. That guidance will be posted on the RIDE website and on reopeningri.com. Your reopening plans will be submitted to the Department of Education for feedback. Your plans will have to be received by RIDE by July 17th. So by next Friday, June 19th, the guidance will be up. And then according to that guidance, you're going to have to put together your own plan for each district that meets the guidelines. And your deadline is July 17th. Throughout the summer, RIDE and the Department of Health will obviously provide support and share the most up-to-date information that we have to ensure that every district has the support you need. Now, I want to be clear. We do not have all the answers today, and life is going to change between today and the end of August. But if we've learned one thing in the past 3 months, we've learned how to be flexible. We've learned how to be innovative, and we've learned how to be flexible. So let's use those skills and be flexible. Let's have many plans in place, and let's be prepared to adjust as we go. I also know that this is going to cost money. You know, more cleaning, more buses, PPE, masks, temperature taking, and the whole thing costs money. Transportation, you know, getting kids to school on buses without having kids crowded on buses. So to help districts with some of these additional expenses, we will be distributing $42 million in CARES Act funding to schools to support the safe return of students and teachers. I expect that more resources may be necessary above and beyond the $42 million, and I'm prepared, if needed, to use additional of Rhode Island's federal stimulus emergency money to help our cities and towns. Safety is paramount. We owe it to our kids to have a top-notch education, and we owe it to everyone to have it, for you to have confidence. And so we will invest the necessary resources in order to make this possible. So to the kids out there, thanks for hanging with us through these past few months. I know you miss your friends. I know you miss your teachers. I know it's been really hard. We appreciate you, and we hope you have a great summer. We hope maybe you get to go to camp, or maybe you get to enjoy the summer and going to the beach, playing some sports, have a good time, and then get ready to go back to school and see your friends and your teachers August 31st. To the parents, you have literally been superheroes. I've gotten a lot of your emails, and I know that many of you are breathing a sigh of relief, knowing that your children will be back in school. So thank you so much, and be patient with us as we work out the kinks, and I hope you have confidence that we're going to get this right for your kids. And to the teachers and other educators, first I want to say thank you for the extraordinary work you've done over these past few months, teaching our kids in a new way without lowering standards. I can imagine you're nervous hearing me say this. I've talked to some of you. The commissioner and I plan to talk and listen to a lot of you in the coming weeks, and maybe this is making you feel nervous. And by the way, I understand that. I hear you, we hear you. But I want you to have confidence we're gonna get it right. We're gonna make it right for you and safe for you, and make sure that we figure out a way to start school again in a way that you feel comfortable with. To the principals and superintendents, I wanna thank you for your leadership. I know you're nervous hearing me say this right now. Now's the time for you to lead. Now's the time for you as the leaders in your schools and in your communities to step up and lead. This is possible. It's not going to be easy. It's going to require thought, patience, and extra hard work, creativity, and we are right there with you as you lead your communities through this. A couple of other quick things. I want to take a second to recognize how hard this has been for the graduating class of 2020. It stinks that you couldn't have a graduation the way you wanted to, a prom the way you wanted to, varsity sports banquet the way you wanted to, all the stuff you've been looking forward to. Many of you have been unbelievably creative, and hats off to you for finding new, cool ways to celebrate. Having said that, I'm sorry that it's been as tough as it's been. We've been working hard to bring a special treat to you to recognize your accomplishments. Just because we haven't had it the same way, I don't want you to feel your accomplishments matter any less, because they don't. If anything, they matter more. If you're getting your diploma this year, and if you finish school strong, it was even harder, and you deserve more recognition. So I want to remind you, this Monday, next Monday, June 15th at 7 o'clock, we're having a special celebration aired on Rhode Island PBS called Your Year 2020. We've lined up some exciting guests for you. We have a few surprises I won't tell you about now, but actress Viola Davis is going to be delivering a keynote address. We have some special guests from the Patriots who are going to be doing some shout outs, musical performances from special people, and also a highlight personal message from the class of 2020. Right after that graduation ceremony, we're going to have a virtual concert for our graduates. That's also going to air on Rhode Island PBS. Thank you to Rhode Island PBS. It's called United for Grads, and it's going to include musical performances by Grammy-nominated musicians. It's going to have special celebrities who are going to be there. This is all coming to you because of the hard work of the folks down at the United Theater in Westerly. So thank you to the United Theater for producing the incredible program for our students, and thank you to PBS, and thank you to all the folks on my team who've worked really hard to put this together. So I hope everyone should tune in, even if you don't have a grad. Be there for our grads. Unity is the name of the game, and I think it's going to be a really special night. Last announcement I have, unrelated to schools, related to food and food security. The last 3 months have been tough on everyone. There's no one out there who hasn't had some really bad days. No one. It's been especially hard on folks who are already vulnerable, already poor, already out of work, already elderly, already frail. And so throughout this crisis, my team and I have tried to have our eye on that fact and work overtime to be there for those folks. So today I have an announcement that I hope will make things just a little bit easier. For the first time ever, SNAP participants in Rhode Island are going to now be able to buy their groceries online using their EBT card on either Amazon and at participating Walmart stores. This is a big deal. This is great news, and I want to thank everybody at DHS for working hard to make it happen. So not only buying food online makes your life a little easier, a little less hectic, a little easier to get your groceries, but frankly, we've heard from a lot of older Rhode Islanders who are SNAP recipients that they feel afraid. They feel afraid to go to the grocery store. They go to the grocery store and it's crowded. And so we hope this makes it a little easier for all of you. You don't have to put your health at risk by going to the store, and you can buy your food, buy your groceries online. I also want to say DHS just received approval to issue an emergency payment to families currently receiving RI Works cash assistance benefits. These are some of the poorest families in Rhode Island, and we're going to be making a one-time payment available to you. You can learn more about that at the DHS website. The money will go right on your EBT card starting on June 19th. To give you a feel for it, the amount you will receive is based on the size of your household, but to give you a feel for it, for a family of 3, you'll receive a one-time additional payment of $550. So that's if you're a family receiving RI Works cash assistance benefits. We're making that available, tapping into some of our COVID relief funds just to give you a little help right now when you need it most. So that was a mouthful, a lot of important stuff today. I want to turn it over to Commissioner Infante Green, and then we'll hear from Dr. Alexander Scott, and then I'll come back for questions.
So thank you, Governor, for your leadership. You have really allowed us to be the leaders in distance learning. And I can't say it enough, because when I took this role, we were not the leaders, and we are now. So I have to thank the teachers, the administrators, the superintendents, principals, everyone, the parents, the students. Your work has allowed us to lead. So we will continue to work together as partners as we move forward. So I want to thank you. So I with that being said, we know that our teachers have been asked to do so much in such little time. So I want to make a quick announcement. Cox, who has been a true partner during this endeavor, has offered to give 3 teachers $1,000 each, and I will announce who those teachers are. Get ready so you can hear your name on TV. Marissa Bianco from McGuire Elementary School in North Providence, Michael Carlino from Rogers High School in Newport, and Paula McMillan from Cumberland Hill Elementary School. $1,000 come in handy. You can use it anywhere you want during distance learning or when you go back to your classroom. Thank you for all the hard work. Quería tomar un momento para decírselo en español. Quería darle las gracias a la gobernadora por su liderazgo que no ha permitido a nosotros ser los líderes en la nación entera en términos del trabajo que estamos haciendo a distancia. Quiero darle las gracias a los profesores, los maestros, los padres, los alumnos. Nosotros no podíamos llegar a esa meta sin el apoyo y la colaboración de ustedes. También quería anunciarle que Cox no dio dinero para darle a 3 maestros durante el estado. Ya ustedes oyeron que yo le di el nombre. Son $1,000 para cada maestro y queríamos tener este momento para darle las gracias a los maestros. Si no lo han hecho, por favor, hágalo. And I want to ask all families, if you haven't thanked your child or your children's teacher, please do so, please. So, as the governor said, we're getting ready to go back to school. So a lot of our efforts are going to be working together to create tools that would help schools reopen safely. I want to make sure that I reiterate that. We were one of the states that made a decision to go out with time because we made sure that the safety of our students and educators were paramount for us as we made that decision. And we will continue to make that decision as we go forward. So come August 31st, we're going to be ready. We're going to provide a safe learning environment for everyone involved. So you have to trust that those decisions are being made from that place. And we're working very closely with the Department of Health. Quería decirle que nosotros fuimos uno de los primeros estados que cerramos porque pensábamos en la salud, pusimos la salud de los niños y los padres como primordial. Por lo tanto, nosotros vamos a seguir tomando ese tipo de decisiones y vamos a seguir trabajando con el Departamento de Salud mientras estemos trabajando para abrir las escuelas en el agosto 31. So I'm going to give you a couple of decisions that we have made that are important for this year's calendar. As you heard, we have a calendar for the entire state. I will tell you that it has been one of the most important decisions that we have made because it kept us on track and working together. La decisión que nosotros tomamos ahora fue tener un calendario del estado entero y esa decisión no ha dado a nosotros la habilidad de trabajar en conjunto. We were able to work very closely together as we have this one calendar. This is the first time we've had this in the state of Rhode Island. I want to thank everyone that worked with us to create that calendar. So here we are. All Rhode Island students and teachers will have winter vacation from February 15th through the 19th. Todos los estudiantes en el estado de Rhode Island van a tener vacaciones desde el 15 de febrero al 19. All Rhode Island students and teachers will have spring break vacation from April 19th through the 23rd. Todos los niños y maestros van a tener las vacaciones de abril desde el 19 al 23. The following days will be statewide professional development days. This is important. We embedded in our calendar because we think that supporting our teachers to continuously grow and learn is part of our responsibility as a community so that we can continue to build the rigor in our schools. Para nosotros es sumamente importante que los maestros sigan aprendiendo y se les dé el apoyo. Nosotros tenemos días en el calendario para ya eso mismo. So here are professional development days for teachers. But wait, that does not mean that your students will not get instruction, that your children will not get instruction. Those are going to be virtual learning days for students. Eso van a ser días que los alumnos de ustedes o sus hijos van a seguir aprendiendo virtualmente. Los días son los siguientes. So we have September 21st, septiembre 21, October 19th, el 19 de octubre, November 16th, el 16 de noviembre, December 14th, el 14 de diciembre, January 25th, el 25 de enero, March 15th, el 15 de marzo, April 12th, el 12 de abril, y el May 17th, almost said it in Spanish, y el 17 de mayo. Eso van a ser días virtuales. These are going to be virtual days, but we are signaling that this matters to us, that the teachers to continue to learn and that we take what we have learned and continue to move forward as a state. As the governor said, we are going to have a new and better system. That's what we are going to reach for and we're going to work for. And we've put that in our calendar to ensure that that happens. Nosotros vamos a regresar a las escuelas, se va a ver muy diferente, pero nosotros vamos a seguir hacia adelante mejorando las escuelas. So, another exciting news, snow days will still be determined at the district level, but those will be held through distance learning. I know, might be some disappointed children in the room, but the snow days, the way we knew them before, are gone. We can do virtual distance learning. So, los días de nieve que se daban antes se va determinado por los distritos, pero ahora se va a impartir docencia virtualmente. So, ya como nosotros lo conocíamos, ya eso no va a existir. Statewide year for students will end on the 180th day of instruction, which is expected to be around June 16th. Las escuelas van a acabar después de 180 días de instrucción, que se espera que sea como el 16 de junio. Statewide may choose to add additional days, so schools can add additional days. This is the minimum. Este es el mínimo. Su distrito puede agregar más días, pero ese es el mínimo que nosotros estamos requiriendo. This is the minimum that the state is requiring. While RIDE encourages private schools to follow statewide calendar, those decisions will be made at the school level. Nosotros estamos pidiendo a las escuelas privadas que también vea el calendario y trate de alinearse porque es sumamente importante. In addition to the calendar, RIDE is working with the team at the Rhode Island Department of Health to develop a full range of school opening scenarios, which balance prioritizing health and safety in school communities with providing in-person instruction as possible. Nosotros estamos trabajando con el Departamento de Salud para asegurarnos que nosotros tenemos un plan de cómo vamos a ver todos los diferentes escenarios que se van a ver para el caso A, B, C, D, más o menos. So we're going to have different scenarios that range from in-person to if we have to go back to distance learning. So the plans have to be made for all those situations that may arise. Pero como sabemos que la salud va a cambiar, part of what the governor said that is extremely important, and I know as a teacher, we like to hold on to things. Flexibility is the name of the game, right? We're putting all this out, but that's why we have a range of plans that have to be put in place because we don't know what's going to happen in terms of where we were going to be in August. Where we are today may not be where we'll be August 31st. So we have to plan for all of it. That's what's going to continue to let us lead as a state. Es importante que nosotros seamos flexibles porque ahora mismo le estamos dando esta información, pero todo puede cambiar de un momento a otro. So, as you saw this spring, we had the district submit plans to us. We are going to do the same now. The governor gave you the dates of those plans, but it's really important. All the districts will be assigned a person from RIDE that will work. We've already started bringing small groups of superintendents and principals together to get feedback on the thoughts, initial work, because we are going to do this with the community at large. Districts have been asked to work with their local communities to help put plans together. Nosotros hemos estado trabajando porque cuando nosotros nos fuimos, cerramos las escuelas en marzo. Una de las cosas que le pedimos a los superintendentes fue un plan y ahora le vamos a pedir uno también que tenga todos los casos, que nosotros tengamos el caso si tenemos que volver a educación virtual o que estemos todo en persona. Eso es sumamente importante, pero tenemos que ser flexibles porque lo que sabemos hoy puede ser muy diferente el 31 de agosto. So I have to tell you that I am super excited because I have 2 kids in my house. And the only way I can thank my kids' teachers is thank you, all of you. But they need their friends. They need to be around social setting that's safe. We all know that school is not just academics. So we're looking forward to working very closely and being transparent and open about where we're going. So we're excited to see you guys. It's been an amazing year, and you have risen to the occasion. Every single student, we are incredibly proud of you. Nosotros estamos muy orgullosos de todos los niños, pero ya es tiempo para nosotros regresar. La escuela no es solamente el trabajo académico, pero también la parte social. Ya estamos ansiosos, y para los maestros de los hijos míos, muchas gracias. Thank you to all of you and the patients and being collaborative. When I came to Rhode Island, it's been a year now, people told me that I would never be a Rhode Islander. You're wrong. I'm a Rhode Islander. So I can't think of a better place to be under such situation. Gracias a todo el mundo en Rhode Island. Yo me siento muy apoyada y me siento como parte de la comunidad. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Commissioner and Governor. Thank you to all of you for staying with us, because this was a very important update. I will be quick because we've had so much information. I also want to thank everyone at the Rhode Island Department of Education and everyone throughout the educational community for your tremendous work and collaboration on this approach. I imagine that there will be lots of questions, so let's keep going and with the update on the data. We have 66 new cases to announce. We've announced fewer than 100 cases each day for the last several days. To repeat an expression that the governor uses often, we are not out of the woods yet. We don't know what the next few weeks and months will look like, but the recent drop we have seen in new cases is certainly related to the very aggressive approach we have taken to testing. Our recent drop is also tied to our aggressive approach to case investigations, quarantine, and isolation, knowing that that is key to stopping transmission of COVID-19. We still have a lot of work to do, particularly in some of our more densely populated communities and communities of color. But we have some momentum to build on, knowing that we can get there. There are currently 148 people with COVID-19 in the hospital. Of these 148 people, 27 are in the intensive care unit and 16 are on a ventilator across Rhode Island. Sadly, we have 4 additional COVID-19 associated fatalities to report today. 2 of these people were in their 80s and 2 of these people were in their 90s. Our deepest sympathies and our prayers go out to the families of these beloved Rhode Islanders and to all the Rhode Islanders we have lost throughout this crisis. I will finish with the encouragement to get tested, particularly for those who participated in a protest over the last couple of weeks. There is a risk in doing that. It's important to continue to monitor yourself for symptoms, to avoid close contact for long periods of time with people who may be at higher risk of COVID-19, and to get tested, knowing that if the test results are negative, we'd still want you to be vigilant about monitoring for symptoms. I plan to be tested this week as well, along with the members of the Rhode Island Department of Health and our community family that joined with us to serve at the protests last week and hand out information about COVID-19, provide the over 5,000 masks that were provided, and to help people stay safe. I will finish with this as we think about the governor charging us to move forward to a better Rhode Island. While we were there, we also embraced the solidarity of uniting for racial justice. And as my husband and I celebrate a very important day today, our precious Christian Michael Scott's turning 1 year old today, we look forward to, with hope, to a future where Black Lives Matter will be an experience that everyone understands and doesn't have to be something that's said to specifically call out the importance of that. And we believe that for a better Rhode Island and a better world, we can do that with everyone doing their part. So with that, we will get started with the many questions we're sure people have.
Governor, have you, or maybe Commissioner, have you decided yet how you're going to deal with the inevitable a case when someone actually does test positive, will that be an automatic shutdown, or do you think you'll have the systems in place in schools where a kid or a teacher could test positive, but students can continue to go to school?
Yeah. The latter. So look, the first thing I would say is there's a lot to be figured out. So that's why we're going to have our guidance up by next Friday. And that will be, as the commissioner said, like the minimum guidelines. But a piece of whatever, for the plans for the districts, but a piece of every plan is, what do you do if someone tests positive? What is the plan if there is an outbreak? What defines an outbreak? What we have said for the state is that if we think there are multiple cases, then we want to test everybody within 4 hours. And we have the capability to do that. And that's why we feel it's so important to continue to be able to rely on distance learning, because if a class has to go into quarantine, for example, we don't want any interruption. The name of the game here is no interruption in a children's learning, even if we have these eventualities. So short answer is we don't yet know. That's the point of the next 3 months, to put in place these protocols. We're going to do it hand in hand with the districts. But we've gotten to a point managing this virus now where everything we do from here on out, we want it to be a pinpointed, targeted approach, more than like a lockdown.
Governor, what is the effect of collective bargaining agreements that teachers' unions have entered into with individual school districts? Going to a statewide calendar would seem to me to risk changing, well, I think the commission will answer that, but going to a statewide calendar seems to risk creating a situation where those agreements are now breached. If the calendar, the slide that's presented includes, say, going before, I got here, but it doesn't say there's no school on those days. But many teachers have a contractual right to such days off. And
No, there are holidays. So there are holidays for those calendar days. We checked everyone's calendar, and just so that you know, we worked with the teachers' unions, the 2 state teachers' unions, to develop this calendar. So we've worked collaboratively. So there are days off, there are vacation days in the calendar.
When it says, though, for I know for here, it specifically doesn't say no school. So how are you getting it?
Well, there is no school. So you'll see that when we post it, the days are delineated when there's no school and when there's distance learning. They're in different colors. I don't have the calendar in front of me, but they're in different colors to differentiate. La pregunta fue que qué va a pasar con el contrato de la unión, si ya esos días ya han coordinado, pero nosotros trabajamos con la unión estatal para poder llegar a este acuerdo con el calendario.
So just to confirm, the teachers' unions are on board with this calendar?
Yes. The statewide teachers' union is who we work with.
To clarify, the days that you listed off each month, was that 1 day of distance learning per month?
That is, yes. So we have 9 days, and those are professional development days for teachers, and students will be engaged in distance learning. Are what mandatory? The professional development days are now part of the calendar. So those are the days that have been allocated, and the district can obviously have more, but those are the days that we have agreed to for the entire state. What we've learned during this pandemic has been that we have been able to work across districts. Isn't that amazing? That has been an amazing opportunity for us. So teachers at Newport were able to work with teachers in Cranston. So I think we've done statewide PD. So as we start entering a new era, we have to start thinking out of the box as Rhode Island as one state.
Can you elaborate a little bit on what you foresee as the major challenges for this?
Major challenges. Let's see, we can pick so many. Let's try busing, right? We're going to have to triple our busing routes, right? The CDC is pretty clear on what their recommendations are. So we are looking at what different ways we can actually implement their recommendations, but it is going to require more buses, more runs, staggering start times. We're looking at where kids enter and exit the building. It's up to, it's that level of granularity that we're getting down to, and then providing guardrails for all the districts. The governor mentioned Central Falls, so we're going to do things differently for different districts depending on where they are with their numbers, right? But there's going to be some guardrails that are going to be important for everyone to follow, because as you heard, we're going back to school.
Commissioner, so kind of playing off that, there's obviously going to be an equity concern here, obviously Central Falls versus East Greenwich. How are you going to fund some of the schools like a Central Falls or even in Providence to make sure that they can stay on track with this standardized calendar, even going to distance learning, trying to keep kids in person or just keep teachers healthy, so on and so forth, where the numbers of cases are confirmed positive cases are so much higher than others?
Right. Well, that's where, so let me answer that question 3 different ways. So that's why we're looking at these communities, because one of the things that COVID taught us was the inequities, right? So we used to sweep it under the rug. The rug has been pulled away. We know where the inequities are. We've always known. So when the Department of Health posted the numbers for families of color being higher, Latino families, at the end of the day, it's not because of a race, it's because of the inequities that exist. So your question about, for example, Central Falls or anywhere else, if there is a different approach, then our job is to ensure that maybe the day is longer, maybe that they get more. What we're thinking is more, not less. So we know that there's a problem in education across the board. So we're trying to address that in a way that's equitable, and that, you know, and equitable means giving more to the places that need more. And that's the way that we're looking at it. How can we work with the community to ensure that there is not that disparity, that some districts are going and others are not, but that we're doing more for them so that they can be successful.
So to go off of that, the $42 million in funding, will that be distributed on a need basis, on a population basis? How will that be distributed?
Well, we're working on that right now, so we can let you know the specifics next week, right?
From the funding formula conversation?
Yes, it is separate from the funding formula. This is above and beyond, so that we can actually look at some of the costs. It's going to be expensive, right? We are going to need different type of cleaning. We're going to need sanitizing. We're going to need, you know, hand sanitizer in all the schools. So there's a lot of things that are going to be different.
Teachers who are immunocompromised and who are concerned about their own health returning to the physical classroom, can they still distance teach? Will they have to come back or risk their job? What's the plan there?
So I think we're going to work with the individual cases as they come up. I think what is important for everyone to remember is that we are going to have a hybrid model at some point. We're going to still see cases. And as you heard the governor say, we are not taking our foot off the pedal. We are going to continue to provide instruction. And now that you know, parents, that the sniffles, don't send your kid to school, then, and if it happens 3 or 4 times, I know I have kids that get sick very often. So what does that mean? My child continues to learn. So there's going to be a hybrid model, and we'll work with individual cases.
Slightly unrelated, but we've been hearing from a lot of teachers' assistants and techs who are hearing that they're ineligible to collect unemployment for the summer, even though the same number of jobs aren't going to be available to them and they count on that money. Is there any way, Governor or Commissioner, you can address the fact that they're being told that even though they rely on this income every year, they can't collect for it, even though it's coronavirus related?
I hadn't heard that, Kim, so I need to look into that. The eligibility for unemployment and the pandemic unemployment insurance comes to us from the federal government, but I will absolutely look into it and see if there's anything that the state could do to enable that. So let me look into it, but I do want to be clear that these rules come to us from Congress and the federal government, and we follow them. Just to offer my thoughts on both of these questions, I agree about transportation. The question you bring up is something we have to figure out. You know, we know, what have we learned? We've learned this virus is hardest on people who have underlying health conditions and people who are 65 and above. And so we're gonna have to take extra precautions to protect people. Do I know today exactly what that looks like? No. Am I committed to figuring it out? Yes. Am I confident that we can do it? Yes. I mean, we don't have all the answers today. I just know that if you told me 4 months ago that we were going to have to do distance learning for 3 months, I would have said, no way, and we figured out how to do it. So I'm confident we'll figure out how to do it. And to that point, so in addition to those two issues, I think the overall thing that I think will be our biggest challenge is not holding on to the old way of doing things. You know, really embracing change, which is hard, and I think is especially hard in school because all of us, myself included, you become dependent on the same ways of doing things. So now my own view is I think it can be better. I think it'd be more personalized and more innovative. And hopefully we've learned how to be flexible over the past few months. But I think it's just human nature that embracing change is going to be hard.
How does this overlap with private sector education as far as charter schools or anything of that order?
Charter schools are public. Those are public. So as the commissioner said, we are hopeful that the independent schools and the private schools will adopt the same calendar. So, they're out of our purview per se. We hope they'll adopt the same calendar. And we are, obviously, they're gonna have to follow the same minimum health and safety requirements as per the Department of Health. And we'll help them too, just like we help private businesses.
Governor, can I ask him?
We have been giving them information all along. So we have a planned call with them to share the information and all the plans. So we have not left them out of any of our planning. So we will continue to work hand in hand.
Can I ask one unrelated question?
So we
Speaker
have not
Mattiello
left them
today
out of
said
any of our
restaurants
plans.
should be open
So we will continue to work hand.
capacity right now, and that the state should enter phase 3 a lot faster. What's your reaction to that?
I don't agree. There's no, I don't support that. And surprised he said it because we talk constantly and he's been supportive. But listen, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. And I can imagine lots of people have their own opinions. We have a plan right now. We're doing great, right? Like, just look at the facts, look at the data. Everything we've done has been based in data, science, expert advice. We're ahead of all of our neighbors. We're ahead of Massachusetts, Connecticut, and our neighbors. So I appreciate the view, but I think it's incorrect. It's not the right approach.
Governor, I spoke with a few restaurant and bar owners, and they're very eager to open up the bar area. In particular, I was at the brand new Brewed Awakenings location in Providence, and there's a few Brewed Awakenings locations through the state. Some have a bar, some don't, but I know there's a lot of patrons that want to get back, and I speak for all bars in Rhode Island. Is there a way to open it with even limitations?
So we're in phase 2 now, and the rules are as they are. And when we enter into phase 3 in early July, we will, assuming we're in as good shape as we are now, we will increase the limitations. But as long as we're in phase 2, we're not planning to make any changes. And the reason is because of the congregation. If you're sitting at a table for dinner, it's easier to have social distancing. Once you start to hang around a bar and congregate at a bar, it's difficult. So as I've said all along, none of these are easy things. I'm asking Rhode Islanders to hang in there for a few more weeks. I believe it is in the best interest of all Rhode Islanders to continue to follow the rules.
For the commissioner, I understand that certain resources in education can be deployed differently, like buses running more trips. What are you going to do about things where we already have a huge shortages, such as special education teachers? And if they have to have more limited and smaller classes, how are you going to find those kinds of resources?
So I think that we've learned a lot during this process. And one of the things that we've learned is working across districts. Special education already has small class sizes. I don't think we're going to go any smaller than that at this point. So we're looking at different ways of providing support, and we're working cross sectors with private schools, with agencies, with different places that can help us with those hard to staff areas or areas that we feel that we need more support in. Wait, can I make one announcement? Sorry, can I make one announcement? She doesn't know, but she does. So we had our first summit this Saturday on race and equity across the state, and we're going to have our second, and we will give you the date and the governor's part of that conversation. We have moved very quickly, and you're going to see a lot of changes in the way that we educate our students. So I would like you to cover it as soon as we give you the date. Thank you.